Hi, Ulrike. Hey, Fripan. Hi, Sumit.
Hi.
Hi, Steve.
Hello, everyone.
Give it a couple of minutes, I guess, for folks to join in. I think we have apologies from Sonko. Is that the Confidential Computing Summit this week, so won't expect it, but we'll see who else is able to join us.
I just threw a reminder into Slack, so we'll see who shows up.
Alex. Still, let me start sharing. I can find the right screen. Okay. Guess we can wait a little bit longer, see if anyone's joining, but we are not close to quorum, so I don't know if we need to cancel today's meeting.
We can still run through some of the topics. I mean,
Yeah,
we may not
just,
make
we can't make
decisions.
any decisions, but yeah, that's fair.
I mean,
Okay.
most of the things that I have is like a heads up of things.
Okay, let's get going then. So first item, so previous meetings actions. I may have done it wrong, but I don't think we had any actions that I could easily spot assigned to anyone. So I don't think we've got anything to discuss. In terms of the laundry list, is there anything you wanted to update? Hi, Pavel. Hi, Richard. Ildiko.
Hi.
I personally did not have time to look at the Rust things, but
Okay.
I don't know if Fupan, Alex, or Pavel looked at anything for the Rust things or any other laundry list item that we should talk about. I know that we talked about the that feature comparison issue list last time. I don't know if there are any further updates to that.
At least one.
Yeah, and I also update some status about carbohydrate supporting.
Cool.
Yeah,
So,
I had added the memory and CPU hot plug support. Yeah, the PR is on the view. Mhm. Where up CP.
Oh, here we are. This,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
one.
okay. Yeah, there back.
Yep. Great. Cool. Thanks, super.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think we're closing some gaps, which is great news.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a few PRs merged, a few that are in review, which is really good to see. So I think we're at least heading in the right direction. Yeah, we talked about the test runtime class. Yeah, I think we just need to try and push on with that and get that. I will try and do that this week. I think a couple of weeks ago, Viner said he would look at it, but he's not been very available. So I'll give myself the action to take a look at that and at least raise the issue if nothing else.
It's great to see the progress. So thank you all for pushing this forward.
The workflow hardening side, we made a bit of progress. Basically a bit stuck on reviews though, which is a bit disappointing as CVEs, security things kind of should be pretty high priority. What I've done is started tagging things. Oh dear, it's not what I wanted to do. Is started tagging things with security label, so that if people can take a look, then things with security bumps or security related issues, yeah, I've tagged with security. I appreciate there is a lot of updates going on, and yeah, thanks, particularly Routing. Thank you for doing lots of reviews. It's very much appreciated. But it'd be great, yeah, great to get some of them more. We were hoping to get them. Well, I was hoping that they would be fixed in the 3.18 release, but not all of them have got in. But yeah, hopefully for the next release we can get a few more in and get us a bit further on the workflow hardening piece. Yeah, hopefully I'm looking to see if we can get an improved scorecard result. I reran it last week and we haven't increased at all because we've slightly decreased the number of vulnerabilities we have, but overall we're still getting 0 out of 10 because we've got a bunch of vulnerabilities. So we're still 6.1 out of 10. So yeah, looking to improve the situation there.
A quick question on that security tag or label. Is that something that the community has been using? Are people looking for this, or is this something new that you're trying?
So the label already existed, but yesterday I went, oh, there's a lot of stuff out there, and we do have a high priority label and stuff like that, which I'm not sure at the moment if we want to use. But yeah, this is me informing the community now, basically, just to get a bit more attention. I've raised it in AC meetings, so I've raised it in Slack, and it's not
You mean
been super successful.
You mean
the list of PRs,
the
yeah,
list of PRs. Okay.
yeah. So
I was also
I think it's worth trying.
Okay. No, I was also just thinking that maybe it could be a good idea to also just throw in the use of the security label into Slack as well, so people don't forget to filter for it later either. I
Yep.
mean, I know that it shows up on the PR when it's on the
Mhm.
top, but once it trickles further down, then you need to filter. So maybe a reminder to people that you marked the security things with the security label could be a good idea. So maybe when they have time, they can just remember to filter for the label as opposed to
Yep.
trying to find the exact PRs.
Sure.
I can't guarantee that it's going to help, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but I think it's a good idea. So I I just think that it would be good to shed more light on it.
Yeah. Because we've had some discussions in the past about things like the PRs, and as we're coming up to a release, for instance, we always say, is there anything that needs to go in? And most of the time we don't get anything. And then the day of the release, as happened yesterday, a bunch more stuff. People went, oh, actually, it'd be great if I could get that in. Oh, would it be good if that could come in? So we've
Mhm.
talked about having a label on PRs for like next release or something like that to say this is the list that we want to get in a similar way, but we can see how it works with security, and then if it's effective, we can roll it out. But
I
if
mean,
it's
security
just
could be one of those labels to always check
yeah,
because, you know, it could be a feature that is, you know, helping users to make their configuration more secure, but like the bumps and everything, that's more
mhm,
addressing the vulnerability side. So
yep,
that's definitely important.
cool,
So that could be a default label to check before pushing
mhm,
out the release.
yep. Any other people want to comment on the anything along the laundry list? So there's one
Oh, go ahead.
item. It's not deprecation process, but it's slightly related. Um, if people didn't see, there's a change to move the image pool feature out of Kata agent into the confidential data hub. So with that, some of the agent config um, has been removed. It still works because it's been implemented on the CDH side, but we probably want to deprecate those configurations just because we, from a Kata point of view, don't necessarily want to be documenting and handling configuration for other components. So I'm going to talk with Ding about that and see if we can like put a kind of deprecation notice or something around those, which might help us practice this process. So yeah, nothing quite yet, but I'll get myself an action.
Since we have lower attendance today, you should give other people action items.
Yeah, I'll give them to everybody who's not here. It doesn't always work out. So I guess onto the release status, which yeah was nominally to be done by Anastasios, but it became quite complicated as we expected. So myself and with some help from Fabiano and Ruching were driving this. So yeah, the short answer is we released about an hour and a half ago, something like that. Yeah, there were a lot of challenges around the workflow enhancements and some permissions problems and things like that. So yeah, I think we had to get like 6 PRs or something with various fixes through. So apologies for any disruption to anybody else on that. But yeah, we've got the release out on that point. Please take a look at the release notes, and if there are any particular features which people think are notable or we want to raise, then yeah, please let us know and we can kind of highlight them at the top as kind of notable features. Yeah, there are some like the image pull-in move, which is certainly notable for the confidential containers project. So maybe we should highlight that. which is, if I can find it, it's from Ding. Yeah, so maybe that's a good one, this one. So it might be it's worth us pulling that out. But if anyone's got any other suggestions, then yeah, please let us know, and we can update and kind of have a little notable updates section, which I think is what you're after to help you out, Eldico. That's
That'd be
great.
great. Yeah, that sounds good. I'll look into it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
Thanks.
I will. Yeah, maybe I'll just move out the image pool as a key feature later. Great. Okay, so then I think mostly a few updates from you now, Eldico.
Yeah, it's the Ildiko show from here. So I started to look into the Linux Foundation systems because I just got the information that I will need to use the LFX platform framework to manage project resources, including things like Zoom meetings. So I did create a meeting series for the Kata AC calls. And it is, if you open that link, that is supposed to point to a public calendar. That one, yeah. And yeah, the Kata AC meeting shows up there, and it's supposed to show up every Thursday. At 1300 UTC. I did find the setting to set it to UTC. If you click on the little box, then it's supposed to, yeah, it displays the meeting link. The meeting is currently set to all kinds of public, so anyone who stumbles on the link can join. And apparently there is also a calendar, like you can download the calendar file from this view. Like if you close this little window, that thing is supposedly downloads the calendar file. I did set that yeah, you copy the link and then it gives you the invite in a
Cool.
separate tab. So it does have some good features. I did set the meeting to record automatically. And I think I did set the recording settings currently to visible as well. So somehow it will show up, I think, somewhere here too, or some other public view of the project in the LFX system. One thing to note that once we switch to this, there will be a login screen before getting to the Zoom meeting. So if someone has an LF account, you can log into the LF account and then you can just get to the meeting. If someone doesn't have and does not want to have an LF account, that's fine too. There is an option to join as a guest. You just type in your name and then it will open it, and then you can open the Zoom bridge and get on the Zoom call. So that's there's an additional step compared to how the system works currently. But other than that, eventually you will get to a Zoom call. One thing to note here is that it is not a particular Zoom account that I have control over. This is a framework that allows me to schedule Zoom meetings for the community. So being able to reuse the same link for things like the PTG, I'm not sure if we are going to be able to do that. It currently asks me if it's a recurring meeting, and if it is, then what the cadence is. So I'm not sure if the recording and everything would work, because it also has a setting that people, it either allows people to join 10 minutes early. So I don't think that we can use the same link outside of the meeting window. So there are some limitations to the system. However, this is what I got. So we will figure out how to live with it.
Cool. So
But
when's the plan to switch over?
I would
Is it like
say,
from next week or?
yeah, I was thinking to just if what I described, no one heard any red flags, then I'll just blast the information everywhere. So next week we can try it out, and if it's and if we uncover anything bad, then I'll go and figure it out.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll try out the
Apologies
iCal later.
that I didn't didn't get to set it up sooner. I will double check how long this current Zoom account is going to exist. I did download all the recordings that were on the account, still figuring out where and how to upload at least the batch that we agreed on. So stay tuned for updates. Doing my best. It's just a lot of recordings to figure out what to do with them and how. Yeah. Okay, so that's it for Zoom. I'll again put out the information everywhere, and then next week we'll see how things go. By the way, who is it? Is it Greg who maintains the AC invites?
Yes, I think Greg does it on behalf of Ariel.
Okay, okay. Because if you could try the calendar invite link after the call and just let me know if it worked fine for you, then I can ask Greg to remove his invite and then tell people to download the new one from there.
Yep.
So
Yep.
then the
Will
system
do.
can just, maintain all the calendar invites. So that could be an option. We can figure that out. Okay.
Yep.
All right, moving forward. Hardware donation things. So the Ampere ARM hardware things, it seems like it fell through. The person who thought had access to some resources, it seems like all of them are already allocated. And the allocation is to CNCF, at least the pool that he had in mind. So I'm still trying to see if we can find a way to get access to some hardware from that company, but it may or may not come through. The Works on ARM program we had access to from Equinix that is closing in a month or so. And I got some more information on the GitHub credits. So it seems like that we could get access to large runners for 2-3 months, but based on my research, I don't think these support nested virtualization either. But I wanted to throw it in here if anyone has a different experience, because I've never supported anyone with large runners. I never used the large ARM runners myself. And it only lists for Mac OS specifically that it does not support nested virtualization, but it also does not say anywhere that it does. And again, my search on the web, it's like a mixed bag of some people sort of indicate that it does support, but most people indicate that it doesn't. And if we only have access for 2-3 months and then we spend that time to figure out that it doesn't do what we need, then it just wasted time for the community and wasted credits. So I don't, at this point, it doesn't seem like an option. But again, if someone has experience with the large runners and can confirm that it does what our community needs, then I'm happy to grab those credits. It's just if it's only like a rabbit hole, then it's just extra work for no benefit. But I don't know what else I can do to dig out information to confirm.
Yeah,
Doesn't
that's matches what, as we discussed last week, that is what my expectation is. I've not used large runners and tried it out, but yeah, like you say, if we only have it availability for a couple of months, then yeah, then even if it turns out that it's really useful, now to some extent that's even more annoying because we won't be able to use it after anyway. So yeah.
Okay, then I will say that this time we will not use those credits because it doesn't seem like that we can really take advantage of them anyway, and I will keep hammering the other avenues that I have identified to see if I can get some hardware options there. Routing checked, but they also don't have ARM hardware that would match what the community needs, so that's not gonna work out either. I will be meeting Kevin next week at Open Source Summit North America, and he's looking into whether or not Linaro might be able to provide some resources for Kata. So I hope that he might have some updates. So I'll try again other avenues that I can find to get some more hardware. And if nothing else works, I'm happy to just literally fill out every single form that I can find on the Works on ARM webpage where the companies are listed who are in that program, and you know, maybe we can fish successfully that way. That's my last resort.
Yeah, my suggestion was gonna, well, my question was gonna be, have you asked Kevin whether Linaro have got any? But you're already on that, so yeah, hopefully we'll get some positive response there, especially as we've enabled some more ARM CI tests in the last week. So we'd be ashamed to have them not have anywhere to run. But yeah,
I
cool.
know. Yeah. I'm trying my best. And if
Yeah,
anyone has any
appreciate that.
contact ideas, let me know. I'm happy to, reach out to anyone. So any suggestions, always very welcome. Ruching, go. I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, I want to ask, do we still have connection with the StratVet team? They are from Huawei, and I know their StratVet, their community definitely have these resources. So if we still have connection with them, we can ask them to provide those resources, I think, if we still have the connection. Yeah.
Can you repeat who you were referring to? I didn't catch that.
We have yes, StratVet
Oh.
supported in our community, and I saw some Huawei people did the work. I'm wondering, do we still have connection with this group of people? Because their community, their StratVet community, has some service definitely meets our requirements to run the CIs. So they for sure have the resources. If we still have the connection, we can try to ask them if they could provide some. Yeah.
They haven't been
Yes.
active, unfortunately. I mean, I guess we have like emails, but I'm not aware. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not aware of them being actually active for maybe since the year before last.
Yeah, that's fair. Basically, so I think it was David Wang who came to talk to us in, I think it was December 23. And that was when, yeah, unfortunately we kind of agreed to add support for Stratovet based on them having ongoing involvement in the community and looking after the CI and all of that. And then they kind of got it merged, and then we've not heard of them since, heard from them since. So, if anything, we are. Stratovet would potentially be on my list of things to deprecate, because it's not very well supported, if it is at all. But yeah, maybe this is a way to try and understand their intentions from Kata side and reach out and get them back involved, I guess. Could be.
Okay, noted.
Yeah, so I think if I can find it was, yeah, towards the end of 2023. Here we are. So it was this. This was the AC call where we discussed it. So yeah, I think it was David Wang, but it might be possible to find some folks from that call. Yeah, unfortunately, all the links are dead now. But yeah, that's an idea. So thanks for sharing.
Can you give me an action item to look into that call and the stratoward direction?
Sure.
I mean, it seems like that is probably a cold case at this point, but
Yeah.
Just putting it out there, I will not have a lot of time until the next AC call, but after that I will look into it. It's just I'm traveling to the conference on Sunday, and just realistically, I will need a little bit more time, but if I have the action item here, at least it reminds me that it's something that I will need to get done. So
Yeah, and I think it'll be a good opportunity maybe to ask it, like if we did deprecate and remove all the Stratavert parts of Kata, would they have a problem? Like they seem to, I think they presented a kind of a runtime of suggestions of what they were looking to expand and stuff, and I don't know how far it went. I don't know if, I don't think we ever got runtime RS support for Stratavert, for instance, which was on their roadmap. But yeah, might be interesting to hear from them.
okay, I'll look into that. Cool. Okay, anything else to hardware donation support things? If not, then just quick note about t-shirts. So the our design team has the ticket open to come up with a couple of variations. I shared the preferences that people had on this call last week with them. They are currently fully scheduled out, so it will take a few weeks for them probably to come back with the variants. So likely around mid-July, I will have a few options for the community to vote. And then we will get the one ordered that gets the majority vote from people. I mean, the design that gets the majority vote. I asked for, I don't know, 2-3 variations, so not to have an overwhelmingly large selection, but a few options that are distinct enough that people can vote on to see what you all like the most. So stay tuned. It's not forgotten. We just need a little time to move that item forward.
Cool. Thanks for the update.
And now I stay quiet for a little while.
Yeah, cool. So, Simon, we got, I think Aurelian had this discussion about, yeah, I guess agent CTL testing. Do you want to share screen, or is it just a kind of quick chat? Or...
I will share my screenshot.
Okay, cool. I'll stop.
Please let me know when it's visible to everyone.
Yep, I can see.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. So sorry. So what I want to basically bring about in today's discussion is having a VM boot support in the tool that is an agency tier. So I will move forward. So to give an overview of the tool for everyone, I think everyone knows about it, but still just want to reiterate it again here that it's a native command line tool and it's more of a testing tool that is capable of sending TTRPC API requests to the agent. Mainly it's leveraged during either for testing APIs during development or in CI. And two basic flows are there for generating these requests. Like either you provide everything in command line or you use the defaults that is provided by the tool itself to generate a request. How the overall setup works, it runs in two basic modes. Like we can either start agent as a standalone process and give the VSOC URI to the agency tool to communicate, or we already have a VM that is up and running, like through CRI CTL or CTR, these tools, and then we retrieve the VSOC URI and then pass it to the agency tool. We have been working in the past for some changes in this tool and integration with CI. So this is a summary of what we have done till now. There have been around 7 agents APIs that we have worked on. So we have basically modified their handlers in the tool. We have simplified the command line. We have removed most of the default generations for them and tried to move to a template-based input generation for APIs like create container. And we have integrated with CI to test 7 APIs. And in summary, this is all done through batch scripts. So right now, the mode of setup is the first mode where both of these processes are running standalone. And we have these batch scripts that basically start these processes, run the tests, and do the cleanup once the tests are done. But we have some limitations with this current setup. Right now, all this is happening on a host node itself. So whatever runner we have, the execution happens on that runner itself. Any changes that the agent does as part of the test execution, right? Any API it wants to execute, the changes are done on the host file system. And we have these cleanup scripts that are responsible for cleaning up these artifacts after each run. So that's one limitation. Second is right now we do not have any capability to test, complex constructs like testing storages and volumes in like create container. Why this is so is because Kata agents handlers for these APIs is written such that it assumes it's running inside a sandbox VM, right? So it waits for a few steps to happen before it does the processing, and then it can actually execute those requests. So right now, when running in this existing CI setup, it's not possible. One simple example is like for any hot plugging that will not be recognized by the agent because it's actually not happening in the host setup. So the disadvantage that immediately happens here is even if we try to do some workaround for these tests will still fail because those events will not be matched. They will not be as per the agent expects in their handlers, and the test will always fail. So what we want to propose is we want to enhance the tool. We want to make it capable of bringing up a small pod VM for testing these APIs. What advantage will this give us is like it will allow us to test more complex scenarios like I talked about storages, right? Second, we will have the sandbox in place that we always expected to have. So no more changing the host file system. All the life cycle for the VM is managed by the tool itself. So we will not want to take any dependency on other tools like CRI, CTL or CTR here. Agent CTL already is capable of communicating with the agent running inside a VM. So there is no change to that communication that is present in the tool. CI already provides all the build artifacts that we need for a VM to start. So we don't need to build any additional artifacts other than the tool itself. and the existing CI scripts are capable of deploying the bits. So even from scripts point of view, we don't have to do anything except changing the way the tool is called to say, hey, boot up a VM for me as well. Coming to like how we want to use that, we propose using runtime RS's hypervisor crates to do this. So the runtime RS crate has these hypervisor crates. There are APIs that are publicly available that we can basically call to create and manage a VM instance. So here I talk about a rough flow. So how the flow will look like is we have this configuration tool that's also provided by runtime RS. So what the tool does is it loads this configuration tool. It removes the hypervisor specific configuration, and it uses the runtime RS hypervisor APIs to instantiate a VMM instance here. Then when it prepares the VM configuration, it will use the same APIs to call the API to boot up a VM. So here, if you want to use Chemo as the VMM, you will instantiate a Chemo instance and you will call the API to boot up the VM there. Once the VM is booted, then there are APIs to also retrieve the VSOC URI. So we will use those APIs in the tool to get the agent TTRPC server API as well. And once the connection is established, the test will work as it used to work previously, and it will send the API request for testing. In this, we also have access to device manager in runtime RS. So that gives us the advantage of instantiating a device manager and enable plugging of devices like storages. If we want to plug in, for example, a block device, we can do that. And this will be in line with what agent expects as well. So all the scenario will work in sync here. And agent CTL will have the complete control over managing the lifecycle of the VM. And this will not be a hard limitation. It will be through command line. So if you want to boot up a VM, it's fine. If you don't, then it will run as per it did before, that you have to pass a URI for the agent CTL to set up communication with the agent, and the test tool will still work as expected. So I think this is what I have from my end.
Cool. So is the plan to drive this to add some extra commands or subcommands, whatever the technical term is, to agent CTL, which would kind of drive this process? Would each of these boxes in a flow be a different subcommand, or would you just have a create new CLH VM or create new QEMU VM type command?
Yeah, Steve. So it will be through command line. So it will just be like you say, okay, you want a VM to be booted, and then the argument will be what kind of VMM you want to use, whether it's CLH or QEMU. And just based on that, this whole lifecycle will be managed. So there are not going to be any additional command, just one additional command line that we will have.
Great. And just to double check, the kind of scope for this is still in terms of developer debug and testing, which it just will enable you to test a lot more use cases.
Correct. So basically, yes. So maybe in future, maybe we would still want to target, if we see, I mean, code coverage if we can with this. So the idea is maybe this can enable code coverage as well, but currently it's to target more complete scenarios of testing that we can do for development and CI.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'll let some folks who know a bit more about runtime RS quote on how straightforward it would be to hook in the APIs, but it sounds like a pretty cool idea to me.
Actually, I already have done the POC with me and it worked.
Okay.
Yeah. So I already have a feature branch in my Kata Containers fork, and I've already tested this for Cloud Hypervisor in Chemo for block devices, and it works fine. So
cool.
Maybe if yeah. So.
And was it straightforward to reuse the hypervisor crate as a kind of external API?
yeah, it's pretty straightforward to use these APIs, and it's very easy as well to browse to the code to understand like what kind of API you want to call and what's the sequence where you want to have this state initialized for VM to boot up easily.
Cool. So yeah, kudos to Fupan, Alex, Pavel, and Runtime RS team for making that experience good.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's a very it was very easy to figure these things out with runtime RS. So
I would say that this is actually a very smart idea. What you're describing here, I wouldn't have thought of it, but yes, I think this is a testament to like a concrete example of what I was having in mind when I said that the runtime RS codebase is simpler, more flexible, and yeah, I mean I can see how like readily how the hypervisor crates could be used easily in that manner. I just wouldn't have thought of it. And I'll please tag me for review. I'm just kind of wondering how much of the resource and runtimes crates you had to kind of re-implement. I guess there would be some code you had to write, but yeah, overall, yeah, kudos, great stuff. Please tag me on review, and folks, please keep in mind the Rust runtime is better.
definitely, I will tag you on the PR. So just to comment here, I think I did not have to write a lot of code because instantiating, booting up a VM, just had to call a few APIs. Only the thing I had to write this passing logic to pass this configuration terminal. Only for a few services like VertiFS, maybe I had to write a few more code to bring it up. I believe for that I did not find any API which I could have used, but rest I think it's pretty API based and just had to provided the right instances and the objects to just bring up everything here.
Yeah, so the next higher level API above the hypervisor crate would be probably the sandbox API, which sounds a bit too high level for you. It's the API that's basically directly driven by the Shim v2 protocol already. So I would expect that if you were to test some more complex devices, you will have to write some code that happens in runtime RS itself, lives in probably the resource or the runtimes crates. But I would not expect for this code to be like a lot of it. So
that's
yeah,
true.
cool.
Might be
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess yeah. Thanks for presenting. Yeah, what were you looking from us apart from to share what you've done?
Sure.
I guess yeah. I don't see any of the AC having any objections to this, but I guess I'll leave space for others to comment. But sounds like a cool plan and a interesting use of some of our other tech.
Sure. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I'll stop my sharing now.
Okay, cool. So just yeah, any comments from other AC members? Any concerns? Okay, doesn't sound like it. So yeah, I think yeah, please go ahead with the PR and the action is to tag Pavel on it, and yeah, we'd be interested in using it. So yeah, if you're planning to raise it soon, then please drop a link on or ask Aurelian to drop a link on the minutes so that people can follow it through. But yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Sure.
that's cool. Thank you for sharing.
So much. Sure.
Okay, Buriko, I guess last planned topic.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw in a heads up. I don't know if you probably saw it already, but it looks like the CNCF Slack workspace is switching to the free tier tomorrow. And one of the biggest implications of that step is usually that the messages older than 90 days will be lost. And so if anyone has any, private chat conversation with people where there's information that's older than 90 days that you would like to make sure you can have access to, then it's something that you will need to save. So I just wanted to give a heads up to people in case you didn't see the announcements on the CNCF Slack about the change.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Yeah, it is very annoying in terms of yeah. There's a lot of conversations and stuff on private and public channels that debugging answers to questions and stuff that be gone.
Yeah.
The CNCF are talking about possibly moving to Discord as a result of this. I think they've got a kind of a working group that are looking into alternatives and plan to feedback on that soon. So I guess we'll watch this space, but might be interesting. Although I guess I don't know what the Open Infra Linux Foundation move means, but we had our own challenges about the Kata workspace with the costs being prohibitive. So maybe obviously CNCF didn't have that challenge because they've never had to pay for it. But
Oh, now they do.
yes, now they would have to pay for it, understandably, because there's hundreds of thousands of users. They are not paying for it. But yeah, maybe they will solve some problems that we can look into in the same way. I don't know if there's any wider Linux Foundations. Well, no, I was going to make a comment about Linux Foundation. Will probably move us all to IRC, but maybe that's not fair.
No, I mean, like, open infra communities like OpenStack, they're using Matrix/IRC. I think there's still a bridge between the two. I think many people prefer Matrix over IRC in the OpenStack community, and I think the Starling X community is on Matrix too, as much as they use chat tools anyway. Because Matrix is a little bit closer to what Slack provides, but it's still an open source tool that people have access to, and it's a little bit less risky in terms of the costs and payments, and the tool all of a sudden not supporting any open source community, and these kind of risks that you have with proprietary platforms, you don't have that with Matrix. So as far as the Linux Foundation is concerned, I'm not aware that they would be pushing for any one particular tool. CNCF was using Slack because they had access to it. Now they don't, so the community will switch to something else that I think people will vote for. So we don't necessarily have a mandate. We have suggestions, but also would like to take into account what works for our communities. So yeah, I don't know if the CNCF moves, would Kata want to move to Discord as well, or I don't know what's gonna happen once CNCF folks decide what to do, but I assume we will have that conversation when their move happens, if it does.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's one where we see what their community does, and it might be that they break some ground, especially across other Linux Foundation and sub
Yeah, I mean,
foundations or whatever that we might be able to get some alignment there. So
yeah, I mean, it also, like, even for Slack, some communities are much smaller and they might be able to just, bear the cost. Um, we are still monitoring, the Slack costs. So if the Kata community would be, going through a big growth, then we would probably have to be a bit more aggressive like CNCF is in the future. So that's always something to keep in mind because especially the way how Slack currently calculates active users, like the costs can shoot up to the skies really fast, and you don't even have a good visibility into how they are calculated. It's like a really mystical way of they are displaying numbers to you on the admin screen. There are three numbers. One is your plan cost, one is how much you're supposed to pay with and then without taxes and things. So, and then there's a credit number based on like users went inactive. So they credit that back to you and you never really know how much you're going to pay at the end. And I think even with the last pay cycle, like there was there were still, I think, a couple $1,000 differences between what the prediction for the bill was a week or two before the actual payment came in. So it's like even if you see a number one week and you have to and your payment is scheduled for the next week, it could be significantly different. And it's just that's how Slack works, and it's not great because
Yep.
we have a limited budget as a nonprofit, and that's not going to change with being part of the LF. We are still nonprofits, so we have to watch our budget really closely. And this kind of unpredictability is not great because then if the numbers shoot up high, then we have to take away from someplace else, and we would really like to avoid doing that.
Yep, agree.
So yeah, we'll see.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, I really just wanted to give a heads up if
Yep.
anyone haven't heard and have some conversations you would want to save, then this is your time to do it.
Cool.
So
Right.
is it like we'll be leaving Slack for sure, and the only remaining question is where we go, or is it still possible that we stay on Slack?
I mean, for Kata, for now, we can stay on Slack. I'll keep monitoring the numbers, and if it increases significantly, then I'll get back to the community like how I did. I think what was that end of last year when I brought up that our cost is not looking great on it. It's just I think the active community shrunk a little bit lately, so it remained manageable for us. But it's just something that we need to keep in mind that if we see a significant price increase for any reason from Slack, then we may not be able to maintain it long term. But for now, Kata is not mandated to get off of Slack. But I would just be prepared that it might be a returning conversation depending on where things go. Does this answer your question?
Yeah. I would just I think it kind of sounds like we can just as well move someplace else right away, because as you say, this is probably this is going to be a recurring problem, and I mean, I don't see a reason to stick with Slack. I, for one, I mean, everybody will see this differently, but I think we might consider just moving to Matrix right away, or Discord or whatever.
So we've timed out, but we did have this discussion on Slack, ironically, about 6 months ago. So it might be worth getting some of the response from that, which led to the decision to stay for another year if possible. So yeah, but we can revisit this on a later call if people want to.
Big chunk of the arguments were that the Cocoa folks are also on Slack, but who
Yep.
knows how
Yep.
long they're going to remain on
That's
Slack.
true.
So yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for joining, folks, and yeah, thanks, Simon, for presenting. And yeah, speak to you soon.
Thank you all.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.